Hey guys, Saif here. A lot of people have been asking me my opinion about Swtor and WoW, so I decided to come up with 10 reasons versus Swtor versus WoW. And I decided to just talk about World PvP today. Um, a lot of people, basically are not happy with Swtor's, um, World PvP and how it's going. Uh, First thing, I've played WoW for, since the beginning. I played Galaxies. I played a ton of different games. I've played Warhammer. Um, I know how it's supposed to be, what works, what doesn't. Um, some parts of Warhammer were amazing, and I thought, as far as World PvP and the keeps, I thought that was going to kind of transition to SWTOR, but it didn't. They basically, it seemed like, threw together this zone at the last minute and put some points on the map that didn't even work correctly and didn't even think about the quest that gave rewards. They just kind of let it be win trading. So then they fix all that. I'm happy. They make it where it's kills. You have some good skirmishes, but most of the time it's around the rebel base because of the population imbalance. They can't stop that. They can't do anything about it. Um, there's nothing they can change to fix this other than players re-rolling because they don't, they're not going to stand for it. So it's kind of understandable about the population imbalance. But the thing is, they could fix all this and do kind of like a winter grass scenario and make it where you queue up every 2 hours, put all the Illume heroics in the middle of this zone. So people can only do them when their faction controls the zone. So then you queue up the battle, just kind of like Wintergrass every 2 hours. The team that holds the most capture points at the end of, say, a 30-minute period wins a loom. So it can come down to the last minute, team switching it, gaining control of 3. The other thing is if a team controls all 5, they win instantly. And the thing you could do is make it a 1-to-1 ratio, so it only puts 1 rebel for 1 Imperial in, or you could do like Wintergrass and do a buffing for the rebels to make it worthwhile if they want to go either way. So this is I think, is the only real reason, type of scenario that they could fix this zone is come up with a queue system, and it would actually be good. But yeah, that's one thing I liked about WoW's kind of world PvP. I know it's not real world PvP, but you also have the Outlaws Den that you could have like a portal or some kind of quick travel out there. You gotta have ways for people to get to these zones to make world PvP. You can't just have it random fights pick up, because I'm out there for 4 or 5 hours and don't see a soul, not one rebel. Sometimes not even Imperials. So you got to have a way for people to quick travel out there, and why not do a queue system, have a big battle every 30 minutes, every 2 hours have a 30-minute battle. And this would make it way more enjoyable world PvP. I mean, you do have that 2-hour lull, but there is going to be a battle. Say the match starts in 30 minutes. And for you're saying with the population imbalance, this could never work because people would never get queued. That's why you have a instant travel to Outlaws Den. You can get a group up, travel right out there, and actually make it a worthwhile reward system. Make it where you get mercenary, like a lot of mercenary tokens, like per kill. So people could just get their groups, teleport out there at the starting area of Outlaws Den and go in and try and get kills or try and farm, and then have tons of crates. People could farm, mercenary tokens. Make it worthwhile for people to go there. Don't just say, oh yeah, you have a chance out of this crate that spawns every half hour. So yeah, because Outlaws Den's useless right now. I mean, there is nothing. I mean, you have those crates out there every once in a while. And I don't know if you're supposed to get mercenary per kill. It doesn't work. At least not on my server. So we never even go out there. And for a loom, we're just sitting around for 4 hours. Every once in a while we have one of these battles that you're watching. And sometimes they're pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I mean, they're good PvP. Good open world. It all depends around their guns, which is fine, because they need the guns because we have the numbers. So I'm cool with that. I've also thought about re-rolling, but I'm just not sold on the game 100%, so I'm not going to re-roll Rebel when I'm not sure how long I'm going to be playing it. Because there's some major PvP concerns I have. I'll talk about the PvE later. That's a whole different ball game. You know, I think that speaks for its own, the storytelling and the different things like that. But I'm a PvPer. I don't care about all the Care Bear stuff. I want PvP. And I'm a little disappointed with how the World PvP system has turned out. I'll talk about Battlegrounds in my next video, but it's just not enough. And the ranks, there's just not enough incentive for people to come out here. Once you get Battle Master, it's over. They need to make more incentives for World PvP, like putting those dungeons out there, making the dungeons have a chance to drop Battle Master gear. Just like, I mean, that's a winning ingredient, what WoW did with Wintergrass. I mean, I don't think there's many people that are going to disagree with me on that point, because it gets PvPers wanting to go out there because they may get a chance to get a Battle Master piece. Even make it where, you know, champion gear will drop out of those heroics. So put like 3 heroics in the middle of the zone that people can do during that 2-hour period. That gives you incentive to do it. And I'm not even saying shut out rebels or people. You know, I mean, rebels should still be able to freely come into the zone during the downtime. But I definitely think there's got to be instant travel to these zones. It's just too far away. People come out here, check for 5 minutes, leave. And these battles like this are far, you know, they hardly ever happen. And I'm not going to wait out there for 4 hours, you know, looking for a battle to try and get a weekly that I'll probably never finish, because I miss all these battles, because, you know, most people are really busy with either college, you know, work. You know, they're not going to waste a bunch of time just sitting out here. So they have a ton of work in my mind to do with this World PvP. It's not even close. And not to mention the CCs in World PvP are ridiculous. The resolve bar does not fill up fast enough. You have all these roots, these flashbangs. You can pretty much stun somebody for 8 seconds. Like good teams will call out their stuns. They'll stun somebody 4 seconds, stun them for 8 seconds. It should be 4 seconds. The next stun hits 5 or 6 seconds, and they break out of the stun. Not 4 seconds and 4 seconds. But you know, given I am being pretty hard on this World PvP because it's a brand new game. So by summertime, we'll know, I believe, what these developers are made of, if they're going to fix these issues. But this is just my idea of how they could, you know, fix this. And I know it's tough to compare this to World of Warcraft, and I'm going to show you some World of Warcraft footage up here and talk to you about it. But I mean, I play both games, so you know, there's definitely aspects either one that I like, and I'll go into that later. But definitely, as far as World PvP, Swtor is definitely lacking big time, especially with this little area right here that I was showing. This is 90% of the PvP I experience out there is camping them at their base, outnumbered. And here's some WoW footage. I don't play WoW competitive anymore. I don't go for ranks or anything. I just log in with some friends, do BGs, have fun. I find the PvP more enjoyable in WoW, and the PvE in Swtor way better. I'll go into that maybe another video talking about Battlegrounds. But this is what I consider World PvP in Swtor, or not Swtor, WoW. But I mean, you could still, I guess, the beginning of Kata, you could come out to Tolbarad and farm people while they were doing their dailies. This is more of a step backwards than what I thought they had a winning recipe in Wintergrass. I think this is just a dumbed down version with 3 bases. It doesn't mean that there's not great fights out here. I did this, you know, earlier in the week, and I had a blast PvP in here. You know, there's still a lot of things that I don't like about WoW, and when, you know, I'm going to talk about Battlegrounds maybe in my next video with some of the CCs. But the CCs, I would say, at DK, I have probably 3 or 4 abilities to get out of CCs. In Star Wars, you have 1. So that may change in expansion. Star Wars brand new, you got to give them slack. But for the time being, I think WoW has the upper hand in PvP. A lot of you are going to hate on me for saying that, because definitely there is some stuff that is way out of control in WoW, with those rogue legendary daggers, the mage legendaries, the CC chains. They have work to do too. So I'm not giving them a pass just because they're a freaking old game. But this is definitely a dumbed down version of what Wintergrass used to be. I think that's a winning recipe, Wintergrass. Yeah, it did have some problems with the buffs, and it may have gotten mundane and old after a while, but it was a blast when it first came out. I haven't talked to one person that said they didn't really enjoy Wrath of the Lich King Wintergrass when it first started at the beginning. Um, so it's kind of like the winning recipe when they came out with arenas. Like they adjusted it, maybe in Wrath and couldn't balance the decay and all this crap. It wasn't as good as back in BC. There were still problems in BC. I'm not cutting them any slack. They had rogues and different classes that were just beasts. But for now, even though this is not as good of a version of what they had going in Wrath, maybe with their next expansion, which I'm not really thrilled on playing, unless they come out with some kind of major world PvP or new BGs, new system. I'm not saying it's going to be horrible. I'm going to buy it, of course. I'm going to try it, but it doesn't mean I'm going to be a hardcore fan. But the other thing that I forgot to mention about Swtor is the lag. I mean, you watched that little clips earlier. I was getting hardly no frames. And, what do they want you to have to be able to run that game in World PvP? I know it just came out, but, I'm running a quad-core 3.8 gigahertz with 8 gigs of RAM and a decent graphics card. I should not be getting 7 frames per second. And it doesn't matter if I'm frapsing or regular, it's the same. So it's definitely server side. There's people with way more than what I have that maybe get 4 frames more than me. But see, like, this is a huge freaking battle in Tolbarad, and I know it's not the same graphics. There's a lot you can't compare, but there's no server side lag with all these abilities and spells being cast. It may get a little choppy, but it works pretty good as far as I'm concerned. Acceptable. For this many players. Just huge battles. And your abilities actually go off. In Swtor, sometimes in World PvP, there's so much lag. And sometimes your abilities don't go off. People glitch away from you. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen here, but it happens way more often in Star Wars than it does here. This was a really cool fight. I really enjoyed this. Just look at the skeletons everywhere. It's just one massive battle. But yeah, in Wintergrass you had these epic battles too. But like I said, this is a dumbed down version. May not be as good. But I still have fun. I still have fun logging in, queuing up, and getting into Tolbarad and just killing stuff. It's a nice break from BGs. Even this system, you could do it every hour. But because they have the raid in there, kind of messes it up a little bit. If you just did dungeons. The thing I like is that once you started it, you should still be able to re-enter it, not shut it down maybe. So for right now, even though WoW's World PvP is, the queue system not as good as Wintergrass, they still need more opportunities to fight a place like Outlaw's Den. That's what I'm giving Star Wars. Star Wars would have edge if they would just make portals to Outlaw's Den when there was downtime while you're waiting on a new Wintergrass to start up. For something to do. That's what WoW needs. The WoW needs a zone like that they have. So Swtor could jump WoW probably if they did a queue system for Loom and instant travel to, Outlaw's Den. But yeah, I have to give the nod to WoW. As far as fun factor, I'm really a casual WoW player, not really much of the competitive anymore. But I have to give them a 10 out of 10 for fun factor. It may not be as good as it used to be, so you can still get on here, queue, have fun for World PvP. And yeah, I've been working on a couple little videos for WoW, but nothing like 2200 arenas like it used to be. More like refining my one-shot macro. But yeah, fun factor 10 for WoW. And you guys are probably like, how could you say that? It's a fun factor. It's for casual players. Swtor just doesn't have it for World PvP. It's a 4-hour wait for a skirmish that could never happen. I'm not saying that one day it may be better than WoW, but we'll have to see what WoW has to offer in the next expansion to compare for what Swtor fixes. So the next video I'm probably going to talk about BGs and WoW. You probably guys know what I'm going to say about PvE, but these are the three reasons um, WoW is probably better than World PvP far as CCs go, and um, just the setup of the zone. So hope you guys enjoyed.